All right, everybody, welcome back to Madhouse Unfiltered. This is episode 8, and today's guest is street stock driver Brad Lewis. How you doing today?
All right, how are you?
Doing good.
Good.
Thank you for being on. Before we get started here, I just wanted to thank MJ Printing and Graphics for their continued sponsorship of the series. Just visit mjcustomprinting.com, and for the next time you need some custom screen printing and some vinyl graphics. So, that's kind of how we always started here. So how'd you get your start in racing?
I've been around it all my life. My mother's brothers both raced, Ricky Gregg and Jimmy Gregg. And I've probably been going to the stadium since I was a couple years old, a little less than 2 years old, and just got involved that way.
That's good. So, do you remember your first time behind the wheel of a race car?
I do. It was a complete mess. Yeah. I knew a guy that bought a 4-cylinder, and I said, I can do this, no problem. You know, my family's done it all their life. I know how to drive. Well, lo and behold, I drew the pole. I'm gonna start there. You know, I got the genes. I'm gonna start there. Well, we went off in the first corner, and I just drove and plumb over the guy beside of me, and flattened the tire and come around. I did lead the first lap, but that was it, and that was the end of my 4-cylinder career. Yeah.
So you only ran that one 4-cylinder race?
Yeah. I thought I was ready, and I wasn't ready. And like I said, that wasn't my car. And the guy decided to go a different way, and I don't blame him after all that.
So when did you? Did you find another ride after that? How soon did you find another ride?
Actually, I bought another 4-cylinder to run at the stadium around '98, and I put it together, got it ready to go, and actually we were really good friends with Stevie and Susan Kimmel, and that's when they decided to get out of it. Well, I'd say Stevie decided to get out of it. Susan wasn't ready to get out of it. And I bought that car before I finished the 4-cylinder, and I decided to go ahead and run street. And that's basically, I own my own first car. I own that car myself, and I ran 99, I think, and didn't win a race. I led some laps. Had some good races with a good friend of mine, Wendell Duggins. Actually passed me on the outside. I was still a little perturbed about that when I was leading. About 5 to go, he took the lead. And I ran that whole year and come back the next year, and I won the very first race. That was my first win in 2000 or 2001. One of the 2 years.
Yeah, that was 2001. I got some stats here from Justin Mincy.
Okay.
Yeah, so you won that in 2001, and you took a pretty large gap in your racing career. Is that right?
Yeah. Kids were busy. Chase, everybody knows Chase is a pretty good hockey player. He got to the point where we were traveling back and forth to Greensboro at first. Then, you know, we got to get better. We got to go to Raleigh. So he was practicing 3 nights a week in Raleigh. And Emilee was playing also. She's a good hockey player. And family happened. It happened, you know. Allison was doing her thing. She was playing a little bit of hockey. That was scary, but she was playing. And she tried to drive some things too. But we were doing anything we could with the kids. It was all about the kids, and that's what we live by.
Right. And about what year did you decide to stop racing and focus on the kids?
It was actually that year, 2001. I won the first race. I think I might have ran 3 more races. I got in a bad wreck, and that's when they were still racing back to the cautions. Okay. And I got turned coming off of 4, and I was sitting sideways in the track, and Frank Fritz actually came through and hit me in almost the door, and it spun the car completely around, and it knocked me out, and it tore up the car really bad. We fixed the car. I came back the next week and finished 3rd, but then I just hung it up after that. I decided I was tired, and the kids were running us ragged, and I wanted to be with them when I wanted to race.
Right. And what made you come back to racing? You came back in, was it 22, or was it earlier?
No, I came back probably, I don't know the exact year. I'd say somewhere around 18 or 19, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. My brother-in-law bought a car from Billy Gregg, won championships in and stuff like that. And it was a 6-cylinder. I went back over there still running against V8s with a 6-cylinder because I was a 6-cylinder guy. And I thought I could, there again, I thought I was going to be good in it. And we were decent, but you just couldn't run with these crate motors with that motor. And we ran a few years, and then we found this car. This is actually a car that Rodney Cook had.
Oh, really?
Run an Ace, yeah. And it was in a barn. His brother had it in a barn, and we bought it. And I ran it a year or two, and then we put a front clip on it. And it's a 2000 center section. It's now got a new clip on it, but it's an older car. We just kind of every year got better with it.
Right. And then 2023 was kind of a breakout year for you. You won 4 races that year. That's the most you've ever won in your career in 1 year. And you finished second in an extremely tight points battle. I think it came down to like 1 or 2 points at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So what were you doing differently in last year that made you have that breakout season?
Everybody knows his name. The guy with his shirt on is Dylan Ward. If he can't set up a car and you can't drive it around that track and be up front, then you probably shouldn't be racing. It's that simple. If you'll go all in, he's all in with you. And like I said, if you can't get around that racetrack in one of his cars with him totally helping you, then you should probably give it up. Unless some guys just like doing it for fun. But if you want to be competitive and run up front and win races, you're going to need a guy like that, or have the knowledge yourself. There's some guys that can do it themselves. There's still guys that do it themselves, but he's the single most reason, the biggest reason I am successful as I am right now.
Right. So coming into this year, 2024, you've somewhat struggled to get into victory lane this year. How do you think you can work with Dylan and you as a driver to get past that hurdle and end up back in victory lane? I mean, I know we're coming out to the last kind of 6-7 weeks here. Yeah,
it's been disappointing. I've started on the pole twice. I started on the front row another time. It's tough. You might go a year over there and not win and still be decent. We finished out of the top 5 with last week maybe 2 or 3 times now. I mean, we're still second in points. And that's what I want to do the most is win a race. That's what I go for. And sometimes it seems like if you want it more, the harder it is to get. I don't know that we can really change anything we're doing right now. We've got the car pretty close. I felt really good Saturday night going in. I thought we were going to be really tough to beat. And things happen out of your realm of taking care of. And, it's just one of those freak things. And I think that's just what's biting us right now. And it'll come around. I got faith. If nothing else, I've seen Emilee win this year, and like I tell everybody, I could win 1,000 races, and it wouldn't mean as much as when my kids won. So we've jumped that hurdle, and to be, they tell me that Justin Mincy says we're the first father, son, daughter to win.
That's
at the
correct.
stadium.
Yeah, first father, son, daughter trio to win at the stadium.
I didn't know that, and that's big, to me, because family, you'll learn this interview, or if you're around me any, or if you're at the track with me, family means the most to me. That's why we do it. I tell them, if we can't have fun, we're going to have our hurdles, or we're going to have our battles. If we can't have fun, ultimately, I don't want to do it.
Right. So. And on top of that, too, he also mentioned that you and Emilee are the first father-daughter duo to have won at the stadium as well.
Okay.
Nobody else has done that.
Oh, okay.
So what does it mean to you to know that y'all have won kind of a really rare stat at the stadium?
Yeah, I mean, what year are we in now at the stadium? How many?
24.
I mean, but how many years have been running?
76 years. Yep.
Wow, in 76 years, the first father-daughter and then the first father-daughter-son. That's pretty meaningful to me. Nobody else has done that. Emilee has been my tomboy, so she is a girl, but she is a tomboy. She played hockey, and she's got some talent. There's sometimes I see more talent in her than I do myself, or she does things better than Chase does, and Chase does things better than she does. It's just, like I said, it's big. that night, I mean, there's children being born, things like that are only things that are going to top that. You know what I'm saying? So it means a lot. I cried like a baby in Victory Lane. I ain't gonna lie to you. I still get emotional. I'm getting emotional right now. You know, it's big. I can't say how big it is.
And diving a bit deeper into Chase and Emilee here. So when did they pick up racing? Do you remember how all that came about?
Man, Chase he didn't even know what a spark plug was. Probably till he came home from Minnesota playing hockey. That kid was the most uneducated, mechanically inclined. He was terrible. And I always worried with him up in Minnesota, who was going to take care of him car-wise. He didn't have any brakes one time. The brake line actually rusted in two, and he's still driving the car. I went up there to see him and to watch him play, and I go to drive his car, and the brake pedal goes to the floor. I said, "Son, what are you doing?" "Oh, I don't know. It stops eventually. I just have to give myself more distance." So he did not get into any kind of car dealings until he come back home from playing high school hockey there or junior hockey. He played another year or two up there. And then he kind of just got in here with me and just kind of fell in. And he's got the drive to want to learn it all. You know, he's with Brad now and Taylor and the Robbins crew. And Chase wants to be able to set his own cars up. And he wants to be able to do that and not do like I do. I use Dylan. I think I'm too old or whatnot. I know a little bit, but Chase wants to be something like Dylan for himself. And I respect that. I respect the guys that want to do that. Emilee, she's kind of been my sidekick. She didn't know a whole lot about cars either, but I told her when I bought this car from Robbie Brewer, I said, "I bought you a car." She said, "Well, the first thing you need to know is I ain't got no money." I said, "I understand." I said, "But what I'm saying is you're going to have to work on it. I'm not going to be working on my car, driving my car, and fixing your car, and you just show up and drive it." So she's learned a lot over the last year and a half, 2 years, and she does a lot of the work, and I'm proud of them. I think it brings them together. It also it divides them sometimes too when they run against each other, but
brother and sister anyways.
Brother and sister, yeah, they are rough on each other. They have been in some knockdown dragouts.
Right. So, and what's it been like for you and your wife seeing your kids be as successful as they are at the racetrack?
My wife, she's very supportive of our racing. She's not a real big racing fan. She's grew up in it all her life too. Her father raced, so that's kind of where we met. Alan McKnight, he run street and limited over there. So she don't like the heat. She don't like the racing a whole lot, but she loves it when the three of us do it, or when Taylor's in it too. I mean, I would like to get to a point where all four of us are running the same race. That would be awesome, as long as we stay off of each other. But she's been very supportive and is the first one to say, "You need to get that car back together and get back to the track, and let's do what we can to get you there and get the kids there." And the grandbabies are there. You've seen Zane on Saturday morning.
Yep.
Sawyer Rose. Cooper's riding his bicycle around like he's running something. So I think she feels the warmth and the family together, and it's where we gather, and it brings us all together. You know.
That's good. And going in this direction here. So for Emilee, do you know what it's been like for her to have the weight of being one of the few female drivers at the stadium, to be in that win column as well?
I've seen Emilee happy, but I haven't seen Emilee as happy as she is right now. Being able to drive that car, and then on top of being successful and being able to she's built a relationship with Dylan. Dylan spots for her. And you can always tell when Dylan's on the radio. There's only been like once or twice he's not. She is way more competitive and way more aggressive when that man's on the radio. So she's really, really happy. And she probably don't want to admit it, or she might. She's always lived in the footsteps of her brother. Her brother's always been the more successful hockey player. Emilee was really good but she just played here. There wasn't a whole lot for girls to do, and she played with the boys. So she kind of lived in the footsteps of her brother, and now she's stepping out, doing her own thing. You know, she's got to win. She's tied with her brother. They both have wins. And he's had some bad luck this year, so she's a little more successful this year than he is. So I haven't seen her this happy in a long time, and it makes me happy. I know it makes my wife happy. It makes my whole family happy to see her happy.
That's good. So, who's the better driver, Chase or Emilee?
Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble, Eric. They both have their traits. I'll answer it like this. I think Chase is really, really smooth by himself and can turn a fast lap. He'd make me look bad, and I think he's just too cautious right now. Mm-hmm. This one, Emilee, she's not going to be cautious, and we've already seen that. And I think that's where her success is. I think they both can be as smooth as each other, but I think Emilee's going to beat him a little bit on the aggressiveness, and that's what it's going to take at the stadium. Maybe he's a better, I don't know. She did good at Carteret. She really surprised us. She qualified third right behind me and Christian.
That's right.
But he does well out big tracks too. So I think they got a lot of the same similar traits, but I think when it comes to using that front bumper a little bit, once she learns how to use it the right way, mm-hmm. her aggressiveness might play in better than with Chase, because he's kind of a laid back guy. You know, and I don't mean that by a bad thing or a good thing either way. It's just their traits.
It's just their driving style.
Just their driving style, and the stadium's going to take a little more of an aggressive driver than a non-aggressive driver.
Right. So let's talk about your grandkids here for a little bit too. How many grandkids do you have?
Oh Lord, we have Cooper, Sawyer Rose, Zane. And Zane and Sawyer Rose were born within a week or so of each other. And then I have kind of my adoptive grandkids. I call them all my grandkids. Hunter Clark, who helps both of us, but mainly Emilee. They got two little girls, AJ and Emma. And then Kendall, that helps me, has Dawson and Scotland. And if you look in the side of Emilee's car, there's so many names on there. She counts Eve, Dylan's little girl, as one of them. I got grandkids, but I got kids, bunches of kids, and that's what it's about. If you go up to section 2, right at the top where my mom sits, you won't stay there long probably, because there's so many kids. They're gonna run you off, crying babies and stuff like that. So, but I do enjoy my grandkids. Sawyer Rose is actually having her 1-year photos right now. That's where my wife's gone. So there again, I keep going back to family. It's all about family. Kevin, my spotter, he used to work for Dylan. He just had Camden a few weeks ago also. So I count him. He's my grandchild too. If you come in this circle, you become family more than anything. So.
Right. And speaking more about Zane and Chase's kid, I know he's lived pretty much at the racetrack since he was born. I'm sure, was that way with Sawyer as well?
Yeah, Sawyer's been around racing ever since she was born. Cooper has too. Same scenario.
So do you see them being like maybe in a kart or something, about maybe in the next 5 years or so?
Cooper's tried a little bit of driving, but he's just not interested right now. Who's to say that won't change? Chase wasn't interested until just a few years ago.
Right.
Now, Sawyer Rose, she might end up one. She's a lot like her aunt. They call her Lulu, Emilee. And she ain't a year old, but she gives you those eyes like, you can go somewhere. So she might be okay. Zane, Zane's definitely gonna get his chance. Let's talk about his mama. She's fiery and she likes to drive race cars. And
right.
But I've always told my kids, and I think they got the same outlook on it. If the kid don't want to do it, don't push it on them. Eventually, they may want to. But Zane comes out as all boy. I would be very surprised if he doesn't drive something. I would be very surprised.
Kind of starting to wrap up here. What would you say is probably one of the most impactful lessons you would teach your kids or your grandkids in a racing environment or in life or whatever?
Think before you do. There's a lot of eyes on you. You want to carry yourself and show a good way. I look at guys like Ronnie Clifton and Brendan Ward, guys that handle themselves in a good way where they show people how to act. Those are kind of the guys I look up to when I'm racing. I mean, there's a lot of good guys over there, you know that, but you look at a guy like Brendan Ward, I'm always thinking, kind of what would Brandon Ward do, or how would he react to this situation? I know Brandon, I don't know him that well, but I do know he knows how to carry himself well and be a good man and on and off the track. There's some other guys like I talk to Dean Ward a lot, well, not a lot, but I talk to Dean Ward some, and you listen to what Dean says, and you can learn something. I'm always trying to learn something from the older guys. I just spent 10, 15, 20 minutes last week in the trailer with Ronnie, listening to him. I'm 47 years old. I'm still learning from these guys, you know, how to carry myself. But if I say anything, just watch how you handle yourself. And know there's kids watching you. Know there's other people watching you. And respect is earned, not given. And that's how I feel. And I'm not saying nobody's perfect. But think about it, admit your wrongs. When you're wrong, you know. And admit it and move on and say you're going to fix it. That's about all I can say.
Right. And one more question here for you. So, well, it's kind of a two-part question. So, who has been the most influential to your success as a driver or to your career?
To me, that's kind of a three-part question. To me, growing up, I kind of had a hero, Ricky Gregg. He was why I wanted to do it, my uncle. He was very successful. He was a heck of a wheel man, won a lot of races. He was the reason why I wanted to do it. And then you get into the other two guys, the reason why I'm successful at it. Joey Baker with Unlimited Services. He owns most of what we have here. He's always there. Whatever I need, he makes it happen. Sometimes I fuss at him because he makes too much happen. You know, I'm saying, I'm just okay, we'll miss a week. No, we ain't doing that, you know. So he's my go-to guy as far as that part of it. And then I got to owe it to Dylan. When I got with Dylan, that's when I won my first race coming back, and then he took my car over the winter, and he will tell you things that you don't believe. Like he said, you're going to win races next year, and you're going to win quite a few races. I said, whatever, you know. I'm thinking, okay, might win one or so, but we ended up winning 4. And he has the plan and knows how to build a driver. So not only is he building a car to make it go around the racetrack, he builds you. Not every driver is the same, but he works with you. He listens to you, and he'll also tell you when you're wrong. You know, and so those three guys, Rick, because I wanted to do it, Joey enables me to do it to a certain extent, along with these other great sponsors. And without Dylan, we'd probably be riding around in the back, you know, still trying to figure it out. But those three guys, the last two especially, they've meant the most to the success right now. With the help and with Dylan, he does it all. I can't express how much he means to this racing family. We count him as family, actually. You know, Marissa, she spots for me sometimes. He spots for Emilee. We go when he races, support him. All the guys up there he has, Nick, all those guys that help him, they're family to us. You know, that whole little corner, he's got so many drivers, it don't matter. They're family to us.
I know you touched on it a little bit, Emilee, but same question here for your kids. Who do you think would probably be the most influential to Chase's and Emilee's success as a driver?
Well, with Chase, Brad helps him a lot, but Taylor pushes him. She's got to drive. You know, she's very competitive. You probably know that from being around her and anybody that knows her. So she pushes him. So I'm gonna say she's very influential in his success. And Brad and his guys, Red and all those guys at the shop, Robbie Brewer. You know, every time I turn around, that guy's ready to help somebody. And then with Emilee, hey, sorry. I told him I was gonna lock the door. With Emilee, it had to be Dylan too, and Joey, and she believes in herself when Dylan believes in her, you know, and you can tell who's on the radio with her by how she's driving. Hopefully that'll go away. Hopefully, you know, in time she'll drive that way no matter what. But without Dylan, I mean, we wouldn't be where we are. And then I'd say family. Family drives it all. I miss that with me. My sister, she's as competitive as anybody, and she sits up there in section 2, and you probably hear her. She spotted for me some too. You probably hear her, you know, and the whole family. It's the whole family drives this unit and makes it as important or makes us successful.
Right. Well, I just want to thank you again for being on. I know it was kind of almost like a last minute deal here.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, I appreciate you being on. I'll give you this time here to thank your sponsors and anybody else who kind of makes it happen for you.
Okay, first off, family, like I say, my sister, my mom, my wife, she puts up with this crap. And then all the families that are involved, Chase's family, with Taylor and all her family and her crew, and Emilee's people she has, Hunter, Kendall, their families, they both have wives and kids that allow them to do this. I gotta thank guys like I mentioned Dean Ward earlier. I've learned a lot from him. He's helped on my shots. Dylan Ward, you know, he's number one. Those guys. And then this year we got sponsors, and we've never had that before. It's been a car with unlimited services on the quarter panels before, but now we got people that come on board, and we've picked some great sponsors, or great sponsors that picked us. Patrick and Wendy with Carolina Heritage Vineyard and Winery. You want to go out and do a little wine tasting and see the country in Elkin, go give them a shout. They got an Airbnb on site. They put the race on Saturday night. They're in it. Patrick's fiery too. We got Roger and Dawn with Radical Fire Protection out of Lexington. Raj, he's always there. We call him Raj. He comes to the track. He gets on the radio and listens. He wants to be involved. They supported us. So. Then we got Jacob Wright with Right Choice Plumbing. Good guy. He's there supporting us every week that he can. There's always a text or something telling us how impressed he is with us. I got Brandon Cottle, his wife Kelsey. They got a little boy Jet. Their family too. They work for me, but just chilling lawn care. He doesn't really need any more business, but he supports us just because we support him, and he's a good kid. And his dad, Corey Cottle, he owns Just Chillin' Services. So they do a lot of concrete work, stuff like that. And I got Brad Reese with Ceramic Pro Coatings. Need anything coated, see him. I actually worked for him for a long time, and he's doing ceramic coatings on anything, motorcycles or anything. Sit Means Sits, dog training, good friend of Emilee's. She's trained my dogs. She's trained the family's dogs. So give them a call for anything. And then we got Eddie Longbottom and Kim Longbottom with Tri-County Real Estate. We're selling homes, selling land, buying homes, whatever. You won't meet nicer people. Bobby Mills is attached to him too. You know Bobby. Yep. Great guy. That's a great family. Trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. Oh, Gas and Glitter by Velocita. Allison would shoot me if I didn't say that one. You know how that is. And then Velocita in general with Brad Smith. He's helped me out some this year and been great. I think that's pretty much it. I hope I'm not missing anybody. I'm trying to look over the cars. But yeah, all those people, anybody involved with this circle that we call family, know that they're a part of it, and we appreciate every one of them, and couldn't do it without them, and we really enjoy having fun. Christian Joyce, I gotta give him a shout out too, man. He talked this week when the car wreck got wrecked bad. He said, "What are you gonna do?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I might not make it back next week." He said, "Well, you're gonna make it back." He's pushing harder than I am, you know, and he's just a good guy. He's a great guy, and his family, I get along with them. And anybody in that stadium that I've ran across, you know, I got to thank them all. If they've had any kind of dealings with me, and I hope they think I'm a good person, and I really appreciate them 100%, you know.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for being on. Thank everybody for tuning back in here. Stay tuned here. We'll have some exciting guests here in the next coming weeks. And be sure to like and subscribe for more. Thank y'all.